Setting up your home bar, it's easy. Or is it? Welcome back to Mixology Flaired. Now, as an event planner, flair bartender, and content creator,
someone's in Disneyland, wow.
We built this bar specifically for what we do, and it's perfect, but I'm sure your bar doesn't look like this. Making drinks should be fun, and you don't want to be frustrated. So make sure you have the right tools. You don't need 100 tools, but you do need a few of the good ones. Let's start with some essential bar tools that you're gonna want to have on hand. First is the shaker. You're gonna want a shaker. There's two different kinds. The 3-part cobbler shaker. It's got a top, a strainer already built in. But this one is a little bit harder to get apart once you are creating a drink inside and it gets cold. The top tends to stick. The bartender's choice is the Boston shaker. It's a 2-part system. Usually it's tin on glass or tin on tin. If you're gonna use the glass, make sure it's a tempered glass because it tends to chip or even shatter. I've had a couple shatter on me at work before and it's not fun. Once the cocktail gets cold inside, the metal shrinks really tight, and when you go to release the tin, sometimes the glass will chip inside of your drink, and that's no good. But when you're making drinks for your friends or even cocktail videos at home, the glass is nice because you can see all of the ingredients inside. If you don't want to hassle with that and you want to make sure that it's super tight and very sealed, use the tin on tin method. Like I said, that's the bartender's choice. You hear that sound? That's how you're going to release it. These are designed, once you seal it properly, it's kind of at an angle. I've seen so many people struggle trying to release this and get the top off. If you think of it like a clock, the 12, the 6, the 9, and the 3, when you're looking down at it, you'll see that there's somewhat of a crescent. You want to just basically take the palm of your hand and smack it on the 9 or the 3, and that will release it. You'll get that sound and you know it's good. But if you don't have a shaker at home already and you just have a jam jar like this, that works fine too. It's kind of like a 3-piece cobbler shaker, and then you can put your cocktail inside the glass and use the top as the strainer. Just want to make sure to hold it on really tight, but it is kind of a cheat code. Just shake it, strain it, you're good to go. Now the next item that you're gonna probably wanna buy is a strainer. There's 2 main types of strainers: the Hawthorne strainer, the one with the springs, and the Julep strainer, the one without the springs. The 3rd type is the fine mesh strainer. Your strainers work like this. They go on top of your mixing glass or inside of your mixing glass to strain off your cocktail. You're gonna use your fine mesh strainer over the drink, pour into, to eliminate all of that crud that might be in your cocktail. If you really wanna step up your game, pick up a mixing glass like this one. I really like these for a few different reasons. They got really cool designs on them. But one, they have a pour spout already built into the side to help you pour your cocktail out, and it's weighted on the bottom. So when you're stirring your cocktails, it doesn't really move around as much as the pint glass that comes with your Boston style shaker. That moves us on to the next set of tools that you're gonna wanna have: stirring spoons. You wanna consider a few different things when picking out a spoon of choice. One, make sure that it's weighted on one side, so it's easier to stir your cocktail and not have it get all over the place. If you check out these 2 spoons, they have a flat end on the bottom. That's really good for muddling your mint, your basil, strawberries. So if you don't want to invest in a muddler quite yet, get a spoon with a flat bottom on it. That's also really good for muddling your sugar cube for your old fashions. The next bar tool let's talk about is your measuring device. It's called a jigger. There's a few different types of jiggers out on the market. The most common one that you're gonna see on some of your lower end bars are these styles here. Now, why is there 2? Well, there's multiple measurements here. The big side of this one is a 2-ounce pour. The small side is a 1-ounce pour. On the smaller version of these jiggers is gonna be a 1/2-ounce pour and a 3/4-ounce pour. Most of your cocktail bars, your speakeasies, and your high-end restaurants and hotels, you're gonna see this style of jigger. This is considered a Japanese style jigger. Most bartenders will prefer this style of jigger. The Japanese style jiggers are also extremely accurate. So when you're making your cocktail, you can fill up to the fill line that's etched on the inside of each side of the jigger, whether it's 3/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, or 1.5 ounces. A budget version of a jigger for home use is this OXO measuring cup. As you can see on the inside, the measurements in teaspoons and ounces are printed, so it's very easy to see how much you're pouring for your measurement. What's also great about this little measuring cup is when you're done, if you have a syrup like a honey syrup, agave, or ginger, and you're done pouring, the viscosity of that syrup is extremely sticky and it's slower to pour out. So you can just leave it in the mixing glass and let it continue to strain out. Just a little trick. The next item that I want to talk about is your muddler. Now, there's a couple different kinds of muddlers that you can choose. A metal, plastic, or wood. This one's very simple. I actually got it on Amazon, and it's nothing more than a rolling pin. When you put your fruit, your berries, your herbs, your spices into a cocktail mixing glass, you're gonna wanna press out all of the juices, so you're gonna want a muddler. Another style of muddler that you can consider is a rubber bottomed muddler, so you don't risk breaking a glass when you push too hard. This muddler in particular has grooves built into the bottom, so when you're pressing fruit, you're really gonna press those juices out. It's gonna grind them down. Now there's always gonna be that friend that comes over that's gonna want a beer, so you're gonna want a beer opener like this. This particular style is called a V-rod. You don't have to get this, but it is very easy to get these pour spouts out of a bottle that's stuck. This is the one that we like. I recommend this one. There's also gonna be that friend that comes over that wants a glass of wine, so you're gonna want a wine key. Look for a wine key with at least 5 spirals in it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you crank it down, you're not gonna break off the cork. Most wine keys are going to have a knife built into the backside. That brings us into the next tool, the pour spout. There's a couple different pour spouts out on the market. We recommend the metal pour spouts. There's plastic pour spouts, some with crazy hooks on them. I don't really recommend those. For the most accurate pour, when you're free pouring without a jigger, or even just for convenience when you are pouring from a bottle into a jigger for your cocktail recipe, I recommend these ones. You're also gonna want a very sharp knife. The sharper the knife, the safer the knife. Now there's 2 types of knives that you can go for. A smooth blade paring knife like this one, or a serrated paring knife like this one. It's really up to you. I use each one for different applications. It's always nice to have one with a shield on it, so it's kind of safe, especially when it's in your pocket and you're running around. You don't want to worry about that. But when you're cutting a garnish, you can either use a peeler, we'll get to that in a second, or just use your paring knife to cut your peels. Even though that's too deep, you don't want to do it that deep. Let's try that again. That peels a little bit better. Your serrated knife can be a little easier to get into the rind, and that brings us to our honorable mention, scissors. Now when you use a peeler like this one on fruit to take a peel for your garnish, and you want to have a little fun and make your cocktail stand out a little bit more, you're gonna take some scissors, maybe a decorated style scissors, and just trim off the edges of your garnish. This way you have a decorative garnish and it really stands out for your friends. And when you really want to stand out to your friends, I'm gonna show you a trick. You want to take a peel, and every good bartender has a lighter or a torch like this. This is called a flame peel. You want to cut a peel off your citrus, and for cocktails like the Cosmo, you'll do a garnish like this. Let's talk about the next item that you're gonna probably want to have, cutting board. There's a couple different styles of cutting boards that you can have. Fancy wooden one or a plastic one. These are really safe and very easy to clean. And why do you need a cutting board? Because you're gonna be cutting fruit, and you're gonna need a really good fruit juicer. You don't need all of these fruit juicers, but if you do have time and the space for multiple fruit juices, you can get a small one for limes, lemons, and oranges or grapefruits. But if you don't want to spend the extra money on all 3, just get the biggest one. That way it fits everything like a grapefruit or an orange inside, and it's all in one. A great thing to have a selection of sword picks for your decoration. You could use a very cute garnish pick like this with a little martini on the top, a traditional sword pick like this one, or a really nice skewer, stainless steel skewer like this. It's really great when you're making an old fashioned. When you're done making that old fashioned, take your garnish that you just cut and a cherry, skewer them together, and now you have a great garnish for your old fashioned. So the next thing we should talk about is ice. And if you don't want hand flavored ice, because gross, grab some ice tongs like these, or an ice scoop, because it makes it very easy to scoop the ice out of the bowl. Ice tongs like this with good claws on them makes it very easy to pick up your ice. Speaking of ice, if you don't want ice from your refrigerator that's very cloudy, you can step up your ice game by grabbing a mold like this. Now, it's not gonna give you clear ice, but at least it's gonna give you the shape and a big cube for your old fashioned. But if you want clear ice at home, it's really simple, and all you need is a cooler like this with a removable lid, and you can use directional freezing to make a big clear block of ice. And if you wanna learn how to do that, I'll put the link in the description from our ice video that we just made, and you can go check that out. Next, we should probably talk about some glassware. You're gonna have a bunch of friends over, and they all drink something different. You're gonna have your short glass or your rocks glass for your single liquor drinks, your old fashions, your rum and cokes, dark and stormies, things of that nature. Your tall glass or your Collins glass, that'll be for your like vodka Collins, your Tom Collins, your Long Island iced tea even, that goes in this one. Your coupe glass and your martini glass, your classic martinis and your more modern martinis like your Cosmopolitan or your Lemon Drop. In your coupe, you're gonna wanna do your Manhattan. And like I said, you're always gonna have that friend that wants a glass of wine. Okay, last but not least, you're gonna wanna have some napkins. A good stack of bev naps on your bar, because a clean bar is a happy bar. You're always gonna have spills. But besides that, it's very easy to learn this trick to impress your friends. Okay, now the fun begins. Let's talk about the spirits. The spirits at every bartender's knees is called the well. These are the 10 spirits that you could have that could literally unlock 100 different cocktails if you have them. Your vodka, your rum, your gin, tequila. There's gonna be somebody that comes over that wants a scotch on the rock. And you're gonna want a bourbon for your boulevardiers. You're gonna want a tequila for some margarita. You're gonna want a gin for your Aunt Sally's gin and tonic, and Ryan's favorite, the aviation. A good rum for your mojito, and a vodka for your Moscow Mule, your martini, your dirty martini. You're gonna want a sweet and a dry vermouth. Sweet vermouth for your Manhattan, a dry vermouth for your classic martini. You're gonna want a triple sec, an orange flavored liqueur. Step it up with some Cointreau. This goes in margaritas. And all these together makes a Long Island iced tea. Here's some honorable mentions. Your rye whiskey, that's good for your Sazeracs. A dark rum, you're gonna want a dark rum. A lot of tiki cocktails use dark rum, and your dark and stormy, you're gonna wanna use that. And a Campari for your Negroni. Now your mixers and modifiers. Let's talk about bitters. Think of them kind of like salt and pepper for your cocktails. These are super key. The one staple that you will have to have, Angostura bitters. Some extra ones that you can put on the plate, your REGAN'S No. 6 orange bitters and your Peychaud's bitters. These are all fantastic, but make sure that your bar is equipped with Angostura bitters. Now juices and sodas. In this category, quality does matter. So spend a little extra money for the good stuff. For juices, you always want to fresh squeeze your juice. No stuff from concentrate, and if you don't fresh squeeze it, make sure it's cold pressed juice. The juices that you're gonna wanna have on hand, cranberry juice, you can't really fresh squeeze this. Just get ocean spray, but make sure it's not cranberry juice cocktail. Make sure it's 100% cranberry juice. Fresh squeeze orange juice, fresh squeeze grapefruit juice, fresh squeeze lemon juice, and lime juice, or you can get cold pressed like this Arte juice here. It's fantastic. Now all of these juices, you're gonna want simple syrup or another sugar component like agave or honey to go along with these to help balance out your cocktails. And it's always great to have clear bottles to put all of your juices and syrups in once you're done squeezing them. When you pick up your agave syrup and your organic honey, you're gonna wanna dilute it down 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 and then put it in a bottle like this to store it in your refrigerator. Now one more juice that you're gonna wanna have, and this one is pretty important. Pineapple juice. Only use Dole pineapple juice. All the other pineapple juice is garbage. Now your sodas, just the classics. Lemon, lime, or Sprite. Coca-Cola. Pepsi's garbage in cocktails. Diet Coke for your friends that think they're on the diet. Club soda or soda water. Ginger beer. This is different than ginger ale. It's much spicier. You're gonna wanna get the ginger beer and go for a good quality. Tonic water. You're gonna also wanna get a good quality tonic water. And if you're planning a good Sunday fun day, make sure to have some tomato juice for some Bloody Marys. Now these are just some of my suggestions. You don't have to go buy everything all at once, but go have a great cocktail party, and I wanna hear all about it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks. We'll see you on the next video. Cheers.